Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's video going to be a wee quick roundup of Celtic news, a bit of a coverage of the women's side who've gone top of the SWPL, and a wee bit of an update on a couple of the videos we did earlier in the week, and just a wee general roundup of all the ongoing Celtic news in preparation for Saturday's Scottish Cup semi-final against Aberdeen, which will be live on the BBC and also on Viaplay. So, good news yesterday evening. Celtic's women's side were at home to Hibs at the Excelsior Stadium. Celtic had a hard-fought 1-0 victory. Towering header at the back post by Caitlin Hayes in the 21st minute put Celtic ahead, and the game was relatively close. Celtic were on top for the great bulk of the game, however weren't able to convert any more of their chances, hitting the post and the bar. Hibs did stay in the match. Kelsey Docherty made a couple of great saves, mostly via Hibs star player Bokum, who I think is an excellent footballer, and would be great to see her in Celtic colours next season, if at all possible, because I think she would fit in perfectly to Alina Sidiku's mentality and tactics and style of football. However, that's a thing for the future, and I'm not aware of any of the ins and outs of the Hibs and Celtic squads and transfer policies. Getting back to the game, Celtic held on 1-0, which put them top of the table. And then there was excellent news coming in from the Hearts Rangers match, where Hearts scored midway through the second half and held on to win 1-0, with the star player being Rachel Johnston, who up until earlier this season had been one of Celtic's backup goalkeepers. So ex-player of ours doing us a massive favour by making multiple excellent saves to keep Rangers out and give Hearts the victory. The women's next match is on Sunday. The game will be live on BBC Alba and is also at Celtic Park. And the club and the women's team are hoping for a big, massive supporting crowd to cheer them on to victory. I think yesterday's fixtures with Celtic having a battle to beat Hibs and Rangers losing to Hearts shows that on their day, Hibs, Hearts, Partick Thistle can all give the big three a tough game. And so the game on Sunday is a very vital game for Celtic. Celtic are now 2 points clear of Rangers at the top of the table, and probably equally important, they've got a 13 goal difference improvement over Rangers, which is practically worth another point, and so does give Celtic just that wee bit of leeway in their final 6 fixtures. They will be away from home to Rangers on Monday the 6th in the SWPL, but they will have their home game against Glasgow City, whilst Glasgow City will be hosting Rangers, and so it could well be that Glasgow City can also do us a favour by taking a point or 3 off Rangers at the dreaded Petershill pitch. So, Celtic Girls, clearly in the run into the title, have a good advantage, but will have 6 difficult games to go in the league, as well as the upcoming Cup semi-final against Rangers at Hampden. And I'm hoping to get to a couple of those games live over the next few weeks, depending on availability of tickets and ability to get time away from home. And so if you can support the Celtic Girls towards the title, that would be brilliant. Now, clearly also good news last night, pretty much simultaneously. Dundee and Rangers drew. Did not watch the game live on Sky, but did try to keep up to date on the Celtic Girls side, the Rangers Hearts women's match, and the Rangers Dundee match via the BBC Tech sites. And as per the Ross County game at the weekend, when I saw the goal, the score was 0-0 going into the last 10 minutes, I thought, well, this is time for a Tavernier VAR penalty, probably Connor Goldson falling down in the box or some accidental contact between a defender and an attacker. But lo and behold, VAR didn't get involved. Tavernier and the great bulk of the Rangers side appeared to be off form, lacking confidence, lacking fitness, lacking drive, and appeared from the wee bits of news stories and texts, sites and so on, that it was rather an abject performance again by Rangers. That puts us, of course, 3 points clear going into the post-split 5 fixtures. Also, quite importantly, I think, also we have a 5 goal difference lead over Rangers, which in effect probably is worth a point metaphorically. And so all the cards are in our hand going forward. Winning the title is in our hands completely. Obviously, we're going to have 5 difficult fixtures. The performance of Dundee yesterday evening shows that they are going to be a tough nut to crack in our first game post-split. The game is lined up to be at Dundee on their pitch. I don't know whether the league have a contingency plan just in case Dundee pitch gets waterlogged or too muddy, etc. As shoving in a postponed fixture into the fairly tight schedule would be problematic for the league and most definitely for Celtic in the run into the title. But hopefully Dundee can get things all sorted out in advance, because in essence they'll have an extra week, 10 days off between now and the first game of the split, as Dundee aren't involved obviously in the cup semi-finals at the weekend. Moving on to Celtic news, I was very pleased to read on various different Celtic sites that Luis Palma has been coming in for extra fitness and endurance training on his days off so that he can get himself fully match fit and ready for the title run-in and the cup run. I think that's an indication that hopes of getting Dyson and Idah back by the end of the season are very limited, and also would suggest that Brendan Rodgers primarily has Luis Palma penned in as being his starting left-sided wide player. Would be interested to see whether at the weekend Rodgers goes with James Forrest, because he did look, for me, better than Yang and better than Kuhn at the weekend against St Mirren. Admittedly, that was just 10 minutes or so at the end of the game, and Forrest has given us lots of good performances, 10, 15, 20 minutes at the end of the game, but has struggled on the 2 or 3 times he has been a starter for Celtic. So maybe Rodgers will start Kuhn or Yang on the right. I expect Palma to start on the left, and I do find it very reassuring and positive that he has been going that extra mile in days off to do extra training so that he's at his best for Celtic for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Not such good news is that it looks like we're going to be losing our very talented youngster Rocco Vata. He's been a star player for the B team, played very well in the UEFA Champions League Youth League 2 this season for Celtic, and has come through as being a star player for the Ireland under-21 side as well. However, it does look like the contract talks between his agents and Celtic have stalled. There hasn't really been any update for the last couple of months on that. It does look like the impasse is more to do with Brendan Rodgers not being able to give a commitment to how much first team squad football Vata will have over the next year or two. And so more and more teams are coming in for Vata, it would appear. It looks like the compensation fee that we would get would be about £340,000, which seems an incredibly low fixed amount for a player of his ability. Lazio and Watford are the most recent clubs to come in for him, but also said to have offers on the table are Bayer Leverkusen, RB Leipzig, Torino, Bologna, Everton, Notts Forest. And so I think the range of top German, Italian, and English Premier League sides does suggest Vata clearly is a very talented player. But it does look like we're going to be losing him the same way that we lost Ben Doak and Liam Morrison at a similar stage last year or two. Better news, however, regarding Adam Idah. Very, very positive comments he's been making in the press. He does state he's loving his time at Celtic. He has felt that he's improved as a player. He's very happy with the amount of football he's getting while playing for Celtic, which is reassuring because he's been starting some games, coming on as a late sub games, and has, of course, scored 7 goals for us since he joined in the winter window on loan. Also, interestingly, some stories coming out of Norwich that David Wagner, who is their manager, seems to be keener on another of his players who has been away on loan. That player is Abu Kamara, who's had a successful loan period with Portsmouth, scoring goals and creating assists for them. And it would appear Wagner feels that Kamara, who is a few years younger than Idah, is a better option. And of course, Norwich are also assessing whether to make the loan deal for Sidney van Hooijdonk permanent or whether to send him back to Bologna. And it does appear that Adam Idah is dropping down to maybe 4th or 5th choice striker at Norwich for next season. And of course, if Norwich do get promoted, I suspect that they'll be splashing the cash to bring in a few even more well-known strikers. And so I think the prospects of Adam Idah coming to Celtic are good for next season. When he came to us on loan in January, I was rather sceptical in that he does seem to have been in and out of the Norwich team. That's been primarily, it appears, through injury because he had significant back problem and then has had recurring knee problems resulting in an operation. However, he has now had 16 months of football without any further injuries, which is now reassuring. I think his scoring 7 goals for us in 12 matches is very positive. I think his ability to lead the line, be a target man, also to be a conventional forward. He plays well in the middle of a front three. He plays well as a 1-2 combination with Kyogo. And so I think I would be very happy to see Idah come to Celtic as the number 3 striker behind Kyogo and a brand new striker such as Keith Garden or someone similar coming in the transfer window this summer. Moving on, I did a video a couple of days ago regarding 2 players Celtic are said to be looking at as attacking midfielders for next season. one being Callum O'Hare of Coventry, the other being Sammy Szmodics of Blackburn. There does appear to have been a bit of progress on both of these two players. The indications are that Callum O'Hare is going to be leaving Coventry this summer, and that will be on a freedom of contract, and so he would be available for nothing, which obviously is quite an attractive feature and factor. Szmodics has 2 years left on his contract. There does appear to be a lot more interest in him. Appears to be interest primarily from Fulham and Brentford, both of whom are likely still to be in the English Premier League next season. And it's also thought that the 3 clubs who do get promoted out of the English Championship to the Premier League, all of them will be targeting Szmodics early in the summer transfer window down south as well. Whether he would prefer to come to Celtic and play Champions League football and European football and also be a regular starter is something he'll need to balance out against going to the English Premier League. O'Hare is a few years younger, and so in that feature is a bit more of a better option, although I do think Szmodics is the better player, and that did seem to be a consensus of your thoughts regarding Szmodics. If you haven't seen either player, I do suggest you have a wee look at the video from a couple of days ago, which has a combination of some highlight scouting reels, their stats, and a wee bit of analysis from myself. So if you don't know either player, do have a wee look at that. And I'll do my best to keep you up to date with all the ins and outs as things develop and if any other players come onto Celtic's radar. Finally, some very good news about one of our players on loan, Bozan Lawal. Of all our players out on loan, both he and Mikey Johnson are the two that really seem to have taken their chance at regular first-team football with both hands. Mikey Johnson, of course, has played very well for West Brom and was the English Championship Player of the Month for March, and has been scoring a lot of goals for West Brom, unlike the fact that he scored very rarely for Celtic. However, moving on, Bozan Lawal, playing at Fleetwood, has come on leaps and bounds. He's now scored 6 goals, 2 assists this season for Fleetwood, and given the fact that he is primarily a central defender, that's very remarkable. And interestingly, he's being used now in a defensive midfield and even central midfielder role. And since that's occurred under his new manager, he's been scoring more goals and creating more assists. And I think he looks like a very good prospect coming back to Celtic next season, given the fact he's got that flexibility of playing central defence, can play fullback as well, and is able to play defensive midfield, which might well be an important position for us next season, and also would have the trained in Scotland factor as well in his favour for UEFA Champions League and European Cup competitions. I am planning at the end of the season to do a general roundup of all Celtics players who've been out on loan, but I think the large improvement that Lawal's had this season at Fleetwood does indicate that going out on loan can be of great benefit to bring players through, as was the case, of course, for Callum McGregor a number of years ago, and a wee bit more recently, Ryan Christie and Liam Scales, both flourished and blossomed significantly with their time at Aberdeen. So I think we'll finish things off at that point there. As always, if you're new to the channel, do click that like and subscribe button. If you're an established viewer or subscriber, please also, if you've enjoyed the video, click the like button. And as usual, please do feel free to pop your pleasant, polite, constructive, informative comments in the comment section, and we can have a bit of a debate regarding this video, Celtic issues, and anything else you want to chat about. So for today, goodbye and hail, hail.